seemed inevitable. In a land of furious inequality and habitual misrule, the virus was always going to cause chaos here in South Africa. How could it possibly be otherwise?
Never before in the history of our democracy has our country been confronted with such a severe situation.
In the overcrowded townships around Johannesburg, news of COVID-19's arrival, the first confirmed case was March the 5th, prompted dread. In their single room in Alexandra, Shebi and Nicholas Machabele had little hope that a neglectful state would come to their rescue.
We are going to struggle because, yeah, it's my neighbor. If I catch it, he's going to catch it. Everyone, they're going to catch it. So we are in a very big danger.
Those fears are understandable. Neighbourhoods sharing taps and toilets, people already weakened by malnutrition and illness. But South Africa had an advantage. It had time, weeks, to watch the virus spread around the rest of the world and to watch other countries' mistakes. Now, the government here has a hard-earned reputation for dithering, for being all talk. But last month, it took a firm decision to act early and aggressively. And so, just 10 days after that first case, South Africa declared a state of disaster. Schools and restaurants would be closed, foreign travel tightly restricted. All done much quicker than Britain.
We knew what we had to do. The problem I have felt when I looked at what was going on in the UK is that they were not clear about what they were trying to do, because I was getting mixed signals.
At this stage in South Africa, the virus was spreading slowly. Wealthier travellers who'd brought it back from abroad were getting privately tested. And because this is such a polarised society, those who were infected didn't really rub shoulders with poorer people.
The difference between the UK and South Africa, really, I think, is the inequality. We've got an outbreak among the more wealthy people who had brought the virus back with them on planes from Europe and elsewhere.
And in a normal country, they would have mingled with the ordinary population, but here...
Exactly.
But soon, South Africa did start to see an exponential rise, just like Britain. Although here, the government was already reacting much quicker, imposing a lockdown just 8 days after recording the 100th infection. The UK waited 18 days.
A week in this epidemic is a disaster if you don't know what you're doing. If you vacillate for 1 week, you're in trouble.
And South Africa's lockdown was far stricter too. Enforced by soldiers. No leaving the house except to buy food. A total ban on alcohol sales to prevent drink from fueling violence and filling up hospital beds. In Alexandra Township, the Machabele family learned that a neighbour had tested positive. But here's the thing, that steep curve, that exponential rise, well, it kept going in Britain, but here, on the 26th of March, it suddenly, almost miraculously, broke, dipping sharply and then levelling off. Until that day, South Africa and Britain had been following an identical path.
Literally on the 26th of March, just turned and went all the way back down. Initially, when we saw the two lines separate, we thought, we have a problem in that we're not testing enough. We're not finding cases. Surely we're on the same trajectory as the UK.
But soon, more tests confirmed the slowdown was genuine.
Community, the Department of Health is here.
The reason, clearly, was that South Africa's early interventions were now paying off. And the next stage was equally impressive. Because it's spent years dealing with HIV and TB, this country already has an army of some 30,000 community health workers. They've now screened more than 3 million people for the new virus.
That is why we're able to organize all these testing drives to try and be as proactive as possible. Because if you become reactive, you will only be catching the disease at the tail end.
Nicholas and his family were tested too. all negative for now, but he's lost his job as an electrician, and 5 weeks of lockdown have been grim, as they have been for millions of poorer South Africans.
For now, to be quite honest with you, I don't have any plan.
And how does that make you feel? You strike me as somebody who plans
I'm very
quite carefully.
stressed. I'm very stressed. I'm very stressed.
Which helps explain why, tomorrow, South Africa will start to ease its lockdown. There is the tantalising possibility that a population so much younger than Britain's may shrug off this virus. But in the meantime, there's an economy to rescue.
Our people need to eat, they need to earn a living.
And so a 5-stage strategy has now been published, explaining how, in theory, the nation can be nudged towards normality, perhaps by year's end. So yes, South Africa has played a blinder so far, particularly the president. But lower down the ranks, the key institutions that are going to have to keep waging this battle against the virus for months to come have been weakened by years of corruption and cronyism. In other words, South Africa is not out of the woods yet.
South Africa is known for political inefficiency and corruption. There's a lot of meetings happening, there's a lot of people talking, a lot of PowerPoint presentations being given, but sometimes there's a lack of action on the ground.
So plenty of uncertainty ahead here. Just look at this massive queue for food handouts near Pretoria. And as the lockdown softens, the near certainty that the infection rate will start to climb.